Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we have on Ebony Madrid-Brown. She is a professional soccer player playing internationally in Hungary, and we're just super thankful, grateful to have her on. She's visiting her hometown where she's from. She's from Porterville, grew up all over the world in Germany, spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and she's just getting ready to go back to Hungary and go play professional soccer in a new contract this year. So we're super excited for her. I believe she starts her new season in August. So, yeah.
Yep. No, Ebony is an extremely gifted athlete and an incredible human being. It was an honor to have her on our podcast today, and she goes into a little bit on the inside of how she became who she is today and talks a little bit of advice that she's given to the youth and what she would give to the youth. So it's going to be a fun podcast for you guys to listen to today.
Yeah, a lot of insight, especially for the young listeners, the soccer players, but really anyone listening to the podcast. She has a lot of insight and overcoming obstacles, adapting, and living overseas, and a lot of her childhood overseas, growing up in a military family. So a lot of insight. I think a lot of different types of people can connect with. I think that's the big thing here.
Yep. The best thing about her is that she has stayed true to herself through all the adversity that she's endeavored in her life, and that's what makes her so special.
Yeah, so super grateful to have her on today. Thank you guys for continuing to listen, to watch our YouTube videos, liking and subscribing to our channel. All the support helps out a bunch. Literally, we couldn't continue doing this without you guys. Because if no one's listening to this thing, it's it doesn't make no sense to do it. So thank you guys. We really truly do appreciate it. So
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ebony Madrid-Brown to the podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Super excited for today's episode. We have Ebony Madrid-Brown on today. She is an international professional soccer player. And we're just super grateful for taking your time on your Sunday to come speak with us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So Zach is going to go ahead and kick off the mental minute. And we have some pretty fired up questions here we're going to ask you. So hope you're ready. You got to see these questions, right?
Yeah.
A little bit? All right.
Mid-State Fair had me last night, but I'm here now.
We're here.
Well, we're going to kick it off with the mental minute.
Okay,
so before every episode, we get this going off with 3 questions. The first question for you is, do you have any pre-game rituals?
I don't know if I'd call them rituals, but I love my sleep. So I get as much sleep as possible before a game. And the other thing I would say is my breakfast. I have a big hearty breakfast because most of the games are in the afternoon. So
same breakfast, or kind of just, it just changes wherever you're at?
Whatever I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So second question, what defines a great soccer player? Like, what are those key attributes, in your opinion, that define a great soccer player?
Yeah, so I would say to be a great soccer player, you have to have your own kind of imagination. It's not like basketball where you make plays and you have if something happens here, then we're going to do this. It's a lot of your own input and impromptu. So intelligence and creativity, I think, makes a really good soccer player as the number one point. Also, you need to be confident because that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So I was kind of reading up, a little bit about you, and I saw that people call you Big Sis. Mm-hmm. Where did you get that nickname from?
I love that you brought that up too, actually, because that's a really big part of, I feel like, myself as a person and the role I play in my family and otherwise. It comes originally from, technically I'm the Big Sis 2.0.
Okay.
Because there was a Big Sis before me, but I'm the oldest female grandchild, and the oldest sister. And everybody just kind of always looked at me like the Big Sis,
right.
And that just kind of stuck. And then my parents started calling me Big Sis, grandmas, aunts, uncles, and it carried down the line to extended family. So Big Sis is my name, and I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's one of those. I'm sure it came with a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
A lot of the younger ones looking up to you, and you've done a good job so far being that role model. If you don't mind me saying, what I mean.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That's good. That's good. That's a good nickname to have for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Does that nickname kind of carry into your like soccer aspect?
No, I don't think
No.
it does. No, I'm
Just
not
family
really.
gets
yet,
that.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
family gets
Okay.
that.
Well, maybe after this, who knows? I might be
maybe.
called Big Sis on
Yeah.
Astra on my jersey. Big Sis.
There you go.
There we go.
I like it.
There we go. Maybe we started something.
Yeah. So I was kind of looking at your background. Obviously, you grew up in a military family.
Yes.
Your dad was how long was he in, or just
I believe he was in for 23 years.
23
Yeah,
years?
he recently retired this past year. Yeah, he was a helicopter mechanic in the Army.
Wow. So you grew up in that aspect, traveling around, I'm
Yes.
assuming a lot. So what was that whole dynamic like growing up as a young child? How did that kind of mold you into who you are today, I should say?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I can take away from my childhood of constantly moving around and being put into new environments is my ability to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I'm put in a crowd, I'm going to sit back, look at the crowd, and try to figure out how I fit in this crowd.
Analyze it.
Right, yeah. And that in this atmosphere makes a huge, that's a staple, because when you get put on another team, you're going to have to sit back. Everybody has a role in a team, and you figure out, what's my role in this team? You can't just be who you are, jump into this team, jump into that team. You know,
Right.
you got to fit in and adapt. So, yeah, moving around a lot. I had to get along with new people and learn to be alone, learn to work alone, learn to not find comfort in my peers and not follow trends so much, just kind of be my own person, because every time I would lift up somewhere and go somewhere else, I would lose myself, you know? So
Right.
I learned to be stern in myself and have confidence in that.
Are you the type to be comfortable like being alone type, isolation? Because I'm assuming you kind
Introvert.
of you've had to do that a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was younger, I found myself more of an extrovert. I really like to be around people, really like to introduce myself to new people and stuff. But as I get older, I'm not sure what's happening here, but I like to be by myself so much
You're
more.
conserving your energy is what you're doing. You know,
I think
and
that
you're
is what
selective
it is.
about who you give it to.
Right, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just like intelligent, you talked about adapting, but that's just like growing and becoming more mature too. Like you see, like the greatest leaders, I always say, like listen more than you speak, right?
Right.
Be able to kind of like listen, and because if you're talking, you ain't listening most of the time, right? So I like that, adapting and maturing.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, with all the moving, all the traveling, new environments, when did the soccer ball first come in front of you?
So my dad is to blame for the soccer ball.
Okay.
Also the dirt bikes, the everything. My dad wanted me to be a boy so bad. So as soon as I could walk, I got a dirt bike when I was like 3 or 4 years old for Christmas. No training wheels. Took the throttle off the dirt bike and was like, here you go, have fun. And I think that's what started it all, is he just always threw things at me and just expected me to pick it up, and we would play football and we would wrestle and box and all that stuff. And yeah, the soccer ball just kind of fell at my feet, and it was a natural ability from the start with soccer. But I also played every other sport too, all the way through high school. It wasn't until university where I was soccer oriented. Yeah. Even then I was, I tried out and made the university volleyball team.
Oh, wow.
So past university, I even wanted to play other sports and do other things.
So soccer, right? It's you're now doing it at the professional level, but I mean, like, how did you get to that professional level? Like, what were you doing that was different than your peers, so to say, or your teammates that got you to a higher level? You know, when did that just, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it all the way?
I think when I started realizing that I was a little bit more advanced than the average Joe in soccer. And I realized, I can get these awards and I can do this. And maybe it was a little bit of self-fulfillment kind of thing that pushed me to do that. Because that's where I don't know, I felt confident whenever I was getting these things. And I just couldn't sit still sometimes. And when we lived in Germany, a really distinct memory I have is we had these transformer boxes for converting the U.S. things into the European power outage.
Uh-huh.
And the box was probably from like the 70s, and it was so heavy. It weighed a good 20 pounds, 30 pounds. And I just used to work out with it in my room. Like, I was like, this is heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just going to do some sit-ups. I'm just going to do some, abductors. I'm just going to. It was weird. But yeah, I just always had that drive to just, I want to be stronger. I want to be better. I want to get more awards. I want to, grow.
Yeah, I saw that you won a couple of Athlete of the Year awards. When was that? High school, college? What was that?
Yeah, so in the military community throughout the high schools, you play within the region. So we had Far East in Asia when I lived in South Korea, and we would play like Guam, Japan, Korean teams, international teams and stuff. And then you would go to a tournament at the end of each one. And in Europe, we played Italy and Greece and all these other teams. And at each tournament, it's only like a week or so. And at the end of the tournament, you would get these awards and stuff. Yeah. And I actually forgot your question, so you're probably going to have to cut that.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
So you've gotten to play in like, how many different countries have you actually played soccer in from, early on to now?
That's a good question.
Too many, huh?
Yeah.
So you're playing Germany in high school.
Yeah. Played in Germany in high school, South Korea also in high school. But we would go to Japan and stuff for these tournaments. And the European championships were always held at our base because we were the biggest base.
Okay.
So I didn't really do much there. We traveled like to other parts of Germany as well, but
So and you played. Where'd you play your college ball at?
Hawaii.
So you got to play in the United States, obviously. What are some of the biggest like differences of like? Is it all pretty relative? Like the styles, or is like the styles change from country to country? Like the way the athletes play, like
Right. I think. Well, I've actually don't really feel like I've ever played soccer in America other than my collegiate career.
Yeah.
I never grew up playing like the travel ball or anything like that. All of it was like throughout the military volunteering leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever I got into college ball, I realized there's a lot of emphasis on strength and like brute force. As for like in Europe and Asia and stuff, it's a lot of technique, and we take time to learn the ball and do tactical things. But yeah, there was a lot of just like hit her hard, run fast, get that ball in the goal. There wasn't really much thought to it. And I think that correlates to a lot of other things in the American culture.
Yeah, that's like that, and then that's probably because that's like the basis, right? Like you look at Europe, go to Spain, and like you said, Germany, all these play South Korea. I mean, you have to get those basics down first, right? Knowing the ball and movement and all the technique before you could start adding all the other stuff onto it.
Right.
That's interesting. I mean, I think that's probably why, a lot of these other countries are so good and so deeply rooted in their talent.
Yeah.
Right. The depth of their talent.
Right.
Whereas, America, it's hit or miss, at certain levels. So, interesting.
When you're at these other countries, and doing these things, was there ever a language barrier for you?
Yeah, absolutely. But I was going to say, and one of the other questions you were asking, I believe it said, what are the things you love about the sport?
Right.
And that was going to be one of my answers is throughout soccer, moving around as a kid, you're hopping here and there all over the world, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like soccer was the international language.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can find soccer, if I can go walk to this village court or whatever, and there's a little boy kicking a ball, we play soccer, we speak the same language. Like after that, we're friends,
Right.
So yeah, that's
a good way to look at it. You use a sport to enhance who you are as an individual and others around you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a huge, cause I mean, if you listen to like Kobe, like he always would talk about growing up in Italy and traveling around Spain. It made him, like you said, have to adapt, not both the language barrier and just the culture. Mm-hmm. So he contributes a lot. He contributed a lot of that to his later success and just being able to adapt all the time. And Also being isolated, he talked about I was comfortable being by myself and those types of things. So I kind of see a little bit of correlation into that, into the overall success that you've had, and interesting.
And talking about success, you've reached a high level, right? You're at the top. You're a pro. So to reach this high level of success, who have played some major roles in getting there? Maybe probably someone in your family, a coach, or a friend. Who's helped you get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, the list goes on. Like, I have endless amount of supporters and people who I looked at times to help me, and they pulled through and they were there for me. But the biggest ones I would like to point out is obviously my father, for initially just opening the doors, the floodgates, I should say, to everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, just throwing stuff at me and just showing me that even though I'm a female, I can do whatever I want to do, and I can ride a dirt bike. Like,
yeah, he challenged you.
Yeah, he challenged me for sure. My mom, she never complained or anything about taking me to all these trainings, and I would want a shirt from the team, and she wouldn't, whatever. We didn't have that much money, but she would always support me in that way. And my he's not my blood grandfather, but he is my grandfather, and he is the only grandfather that I have that I consider my grandfather. And that man, the most giving man that I know, and I'm where I'm at today because of him. I genuinely think that. Anytime I asked for help from him, he would give it to me, and I wouldn't have been able to go to university. And if I didn't go to university, I wouldn't have been able to, get my nursing degree and get a full-ride scholarship. And I wouldn't have been able to play collegiate ball, which if I didn't play collegiate ball, I wouldn't have went overseas and played. And yeah, so honestly, I mean, it's a very small moment in my life because it was like, hey, Grandpa, can I ask you something? And
right.
He says yes, and that led to one thing, and everything else, boom, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, my grandfather.
It's a solid 3 right there.
Right. Do you still ride dirt bikes and stuff today? I mean, you probably can't with playing, but that's something like...
Mom took those away after the first accident.
Really?
We're trying to keep you that legs. We're trying to keep them safe,
that's
right?
That's cool, yeah. So Dad exposed you to a lot of stuff early on.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I was a little boy. I mean, they didn't know I would go places, and my hair, this is actually a very important hairstyle. Like, my mom always made sure my hair was braided, and I remember going to the dirt bike tracks, and I would have a helmet on and chest protector, and I'm dressed in like blue stuff, and I had my little Yamaha, and I'm racing on the track, and then everybody would like watch me come off the track because I'm racing,
Yeah.
And I take off my hair and I have braids. Everybody's like,
no way.
That's a girl? Like,
all these guys just got beat. Just got their butts beat by a girl.
That's thanks to my dad.
Man, you still are that way though. I mean, you still, draw attention. I mean, I've been lucky to have you in my gym, in your time being back in the States, as getting yourself prepped and stuff to go back and play professionally and stuff like that. But I mean, you stick out like a sore thumb with your physique. There's not many of you that walk around in Porterville, and that's just through sheer, solid hard work, effort, discipline, and commitment. You know what I mean? And it's awesome to have somebody like you in my gym because it shows people who's out there. So you definitely have a standard of your own, though. That's for sure.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
No,
also, I would like to say if any of you guys listening are ever in Porterville, come to Maine Athletics. It's a great facility. It's got a great community here. Yeah.
It's
awesome. Thanks for having me at the gym, by
absolutely.
the way. Appreciate
Anytime,
that.
for sure.
Awesome. We keep talking about adapting, and obviously, with soccer, you see a lot of injuries and different things. But like, what are some of the biggest like setbacks that you've had to overcome in your soccer journey or athletic journey, I should say?
Yeah. So I think a really hard one for me was not feeling like I had a steady foundation coming out of high school, going into university, because I never went to the fancy camps. I never had like great coaches. Well, take that back. My coaches were amazing, but they were like volunteer coaches. They didn't have the training to be a coach and stuff. And I feel like not having that foundation, just kind of jumping into it.
Kind of raw.
Yeah, a complete uncut. Like, my parents never went to university or never went to, past high school really. And if that, even that. So there wasn't a lot of guidance and stuff. And I feel like I lost my train of thought again. Fuck.
I mean, just talking about that, and did you have any injuries like that you had to kind of overcome? You talked about being raw and like having to kind of learn those aspects. So maybe you were a little bit behind.
I was definitely behind the learning, the curve, power curve.
So how were you able to, I guess, catch up so quickly and kind of get on that level playing field, or even maybe a step ahead?
Yeah. So because I was coming in behind the power curve without the foundation that I needed, and I wanted to go to a D1, and I knew what I knew I had what it took to go to a D1, but I just didn't have the connections, didn't have that networking and stuff, and I didn't know how to train my body. I was constantly getting injured. I went to university injured. I was getting injured the first week, and so.
Why was that?
I just didn't know.
And what kind? Like ankle injuries, knee injuries, back injuries?
Hip injuries, hips, groins, ankles, shoulders, AC joints. Just, I was just raw, you know, and I didn't have no guidance in that. And I think that was a big, what would you call it? Sorry. Setback.
Setback, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely injuries. Yeah. And
then... So what ended up bringing you to Hawaii to play college ball?
The military originally, yeah. So I consider Hawaii like home to me. Like,
okay.
I was actually born here in Porterville, California, but my dad joined the military shortly after, and we ended up moving around some, and I spent most of my time in Hawaii.
Really?
And so I just wanted to go back home.
Right.
Really. I didn't know college. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere that's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens when I get there.
So in your time in Hawaii, you kind of just mentioned it a little bit earlier, you also became a nurse. So
yeah, in university.
Yeah, so you ended up getting an education.
Right.
And then you did your time playing soccer there, but so what draw your attention to be a nurse? Like, how did that come about? Was it because of the injuries?
Well, yeah, actually, that has something to do with it, because I found myself on YouTube a lot looking at, how can I stop doing this?
Right.
Yeah. I can't do this for the rest of my soccer career. So, yeah, I started looking at that kind of stuff. And I've always just had a fascination. I remember being, like, young, like maybe 8 or 9 years old, and watching the Health Channel. Like, I just love the human body and love how it works. And it's just so fascinating to me. And I'm not really a scholarly person, like reading, writing.
It's a challenge.
I can't do that. Like,
yeah.
Not that I can't, just, I don't like that. So science intrigues me. And
right.
Experimenting and stuff like that. And getting a BSN, a Bachelor's of Science, Bachelor's of Science?
Science and Nursing or something.
Nursing, yeah. That was like the only place that I really wanted to go. Yeah. BSN, yeah.
Yeah, so when it's all said and done, that's where you could find you.
Yeah,
is
you
somewhere
can find me in a hospital.
Find you in a hospital.
Maybe a kid's hospital, because
I
like I want to wear like a cape and stuff, like have some fun with it.
No, I hear you. That's cool.
Would you ever want to like mix the two and do like more of like some medical within like the athletic community?
Yeah,
you kind of mix
awesome.
your two like passions together?
For sure.
Yeah,
I don't think
cool.
I'll ever leave athletics.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what sport, or maybe even a gym one day. Like,
who knows?
I love athletics, and I like to be upbeat. Like, nursing's a little bit too like serious and like sad for me.
For sure.
It has multiple things, that go along in there. There's happy, there's sad, there's excited, there's disappointment. Yeah.
Right. But like you guys were saying, like the Big Sis thing, that's that to the Big Sis thing, with the Big Sis name, I feel like I'm to comfort people, like
a caregiver.
Like I have always had that. My dad being gone a lot, I found myself being like the second parent almost when I was really young, helping my mom travel, because we'd be stationed, in South Korea or something, and we'd have to come back here for Christmas, and my sisters were really little, so yeah, I was like a little dad almost, and
yeah.
So from that, I feel like, gosh damn
it, it's yeah, no, you're good. Like, are you currently like doing anything with nursing right now, or is it kind of like just a little pause on it so go play professional right now?
Yeah, so I just got my nursing license, my RN license.
Oh, congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you very much. I flew to London for that, actually.
Oh, wow.
On like a 2-day, like get it done kind of thing. And that was my next step in nursing, was get this test done, pass this test, hopefully, the NCLEX, and and now it's on pause. I was studying for a solid few months before attest in
That's
those.
amazing though. Like you're getting to pursue like your passion right now, right?
Right.
You have your schooling done, you have your nursing stuff, so like you're ready. Like when this is like you're ready to move on, or like an injury maybe came about and put you on the kind of back burner to not be able to play for a little bit. Like you're ready to go into the nursing field.
Yep.
But you're also right now pursuing your passion and getting to play at the international professional level, which, you know, that's a very small, minute percent of people get to be able to do that. So that's pretty cool that you're pursuing that passion.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I'm very blessed. There's no other explanation to it. You know, it's not a coincidence. It's not, I don't know. There's just, it's
Hard
too
work.
perfect.
It's just hard work. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's hard work. You know, I think I repeated this, or I'll repeat it because I think I said on a previous podcast, you know, the harder, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, with all these things, you know, that we're talking about, you know, getting your nursing license and talking about athletes of the year and stuff like that. What are some other achievements that you have accomplished that you're most proud of?
In my,
And it doesn't have to be soccer. It could be about anything, you know?
yeah, well, my biggest achievement, I would say, is my college degree.
Okay.
A lot of people in my family don't have the opportunity, which is, you know, unfortunate. And a lot of people around this community where I come from don't have the opportunity to go to college. So the fact that I was able to do that and I succeeded at it and got my degree, that has to be the biggest achievement that I have so far. But soccer-wise, becoming the player of the conference for my entire conference and university was pretty amazing. Out of, I think it was about 400 girls or so.
Wow.
I was nominated the best player, and our team was average in the league. So to be that was another one of my proudest moments. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So is there like I'll ask the first question. Do you have a favorite soccer player? Like men or female?
Player.
Doesn't matter. Like,
you see, I want to pick parts from a lot of players, but I really, I like the work ethic and the style of Sterling. He's from Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Fast, speedy player, very smart, hard work. Yeah.
And so do you try to like emulate some of these people, like try to pick little pieces, like, whether it's footwork, actual like getting down to the side, the footwork part of it, or like you said, the work ethic and stuff?
Yeah, so I imagine it like, you know, Robots, the kids movie.
Yeah.
They're putting together the little robot guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like, I want this speed from this person, this technical, this. I want that celebration for sure. Like,
Yeah.
and then you just kind of put it together.
Put your own spin on everything, make it your own.
Make it myself.
I love that. Yeah. That's cool.
So what would you say is your strong suit on the soccer field? What do you bring to the table better than most? What would you say?
I've always heard it's speed.
Speed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, all my coaches have
You can't
ever
teach it.
said,
That's the thing.
yeah, they're like, nobody in this league will catch you. Nobody in this league will catch you. And I've heard it from multiple coaches, so I think it's speed.
Well, I honestly, she runs my little thing right here, the treadmills, you know, that tell you miles per hour. And she told me, I think the first day you did it was like 24 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next day she comes, I just did 26. I'm like, dude, I do 26. What the heck? You know what I mean? Then, you know, so it's just like, I believe it. I believe that you are incredibly fast, you know, and it's like speed kills. Yeah. Speed kills.
I like to imagine it's my suave footwork, but my coaches always tell me, don't try to play with the ball. You'll lose the ball. So I just run fast, beat them everybody. So
go north and south.
I guess it's speed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, kind of going forward now, like what was that kind of journey becoming a professional player? Like how was that? How long have you been professional now?
A year.
A year. So pretty new at the professional level, but like how did that all come about and how did you get that opportunity?
Yeah. So that's one of those things that you can't explain. Like it just worked out perfectly and fell in my lap, honestly. I had a teammate from university that was older than me and had went on this quest by herself and found this team, the team that I had played on last year. And I was planning this whole thing on my own to go to these other teams and these other programs, and I already had it set up and stuff. And she was like, why don't you just send your video to the staff and let's see what they say. And she's like, okay, but you're gonna have to get an agent and stuff. So I was like, okay, we got it, you know.
Mhm.
And she hooked me up with her agent and really set me up, you know.
Right.
And I sent it to them, and then she messaged me. They want you. They want to have you for a trial. So it was a 2-week trial, right? But all the way in Hungary.
Oh, wow.
And I'm living in Hawaii right now. So this took a lot of sit back and let's be logical here, you know, let's be
Right.
realistic. You know, idealism really gets me sometimes. I imagine this huge thing, but I was telling myself either I sell all my stuff and get this plane ticket to go here and try out for 2 weeks and hopefully I make it, or I just stay realistic, you know, come back to California, play in the WPSL, which is like a semi-pro team, and be comfortable, drive home every weekend kind of thing. Those were my 2 options at that time, and I went with the yard sale and just let's see what happens.
No kidding.
Close my eyes, make the jump. Luckily, I mean, I went there with a sprained ankle, so I was like,
wow.
"Oh man, this is gonna suck." And
But it's now or never.
right. So I taped it up, took a few ibuprofens, and yeah, and it went really well, and it was amazing, and I was blessed. They offered me great accommodations, and yeah.
Now we're here.
Now we're here.
That's a pretty cool story. I mean, I tell the kids that I train all the time, the moment you become an athlete, you're always going to be dealing with pain. You're always going to be playing with pain.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's never going to be a time you're 100%.
Yeah.
You just got to manage it and adapt to it.
And it's important to know which kind of pain it is. I've learned that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Is this a bone kind of pain? Is this a muscle kind of pain? Is this like a, you know, take it a little bit easier kind of pain?
Absolutely.
Can you
Know your
work through
body.
it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's
Sorry.
very important.
That old saying, are you hurt or you're injured?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. I haven't heard of that, but
Yeah, I remember like
I'm gonna keep that.
that's like a high school football type thing. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
high school football coaches, are you hurt or you're injured? Like, I'm kind of hurt. You're all right.
That to me, but still, to go back to your story, that's a very, man, I give you a lot of props. You know what I mean? From the garage sale
Yeah.
to you know, figuring that process thing out, to getting on the plane, going there injured, and not knowing anything or anybody, and just making the best out of it. And here you are.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Not very many people are willing to take that type of risk.
I think that has a lot to do with my upbringing and, you know, just growing up adapting in the military lifestyle. And my parents aren't much of the coddlers, you know. They're not, oh, come here, honey, let's, you know. Mom's like, knock it off. Like, you'll get it together, figure it out, stop crying about it. So I'm very thankful. And growing up in the moments I probably wasn't as thankful, but looking back at it, like, it really made me who I am, and I wouldn't have took the opportunity if I was going to stay in my comfort zone. So, yeah, thankful I took the opportunity for sure.
A lot of risk and sacrifice
Yes.
in that whole process. And I mean, that's what it takes to be great and get to those levels,
Yeah,
right?
it's hard to be great without risk and sacrifice. You know, calculated risk
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah,
sacrifice.
for sure.
So, but yeah, you know, but the game of soccer, it's an extremely difficult sport, right? But it's also a really rewarding one.
Absolutely.
What do you love and hate the most about it, personally speaking?
I think it's on some things that we've already talked about, but the love I have is that it's an international language and that it's the most common sport in the world. And there's the fans of soccer are so passionate and so, like, they're willing to die for these teams, and they're always just so alive. And yeah, so I really love the fan base, and I really love the community of soccer internationally. The things I would hate about soccer is the sacrifice on the body, the injuries that you get, because it's, especially women's soccer. I mean, that's a stereotype, right? That men's soccer, you get touched, you flop, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And women's soccer, it's like you get punched in the face, and you're just like, whatever, you'll feel it later.
I think you guys take the cake in having the highest percentage of ACLs, like
For
women,
sure.
specifically women's soccer. Like, it's almost like you're going to get it at some point. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when.
It's inevitable, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of concussions too, right?
Yes,
Like you see?
there is quite a bit of, I know, I mean, I'm not sure statistically everywhere, but I know the people that I know, yes.
Yeah.
It's high rate.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, like you just mentioned, if you look at men's soccer versus women's, like it's the physicality of it is like night and day.
Oh, yeah.
Like you go see those videos, like girls punching each other in the face, pulling
hair.
jerseys,
It's
hair,
crazy.
like
I
guys
don't
are just
know about that stuff.
Yeah, it's ruthless.
yeah,
But,
guys are just flopping on their not all of them, but
You
there's
touch
some
them,
like,
it's like, It's almost as
doing?
bad as the NBA. Like,
Yeah.
you do that and they like throw themselves back.
It's
yeah.
different.
I think they might be watching each other there.
Yeah. For sure.
So obviously you've been able to play about a year now. You've been professional for a year, and you're on your second team.
Yes.
You're going to your second team, and you haven't been there yet. We were just talking earlier about it, but you're getting ready to go in here in a couple weeks.
Right.
What's just a mental aspect? And you've kind of briefly touched on it, but what's the mental aspect that you've learned that it takes to play and consistently play at that professional level?
Yeah, I think it has to do a lot with your ability to balance. You know, you to have a healthy balance of work, rest, and social life, and everything in between. Those are the most successful people that I know, is they have a pretty healthy balance between all those. And obviously you got to have grit. You know, some days you're going to wake up and things are going to hurt and you're not going to want to go run. And you have to have that, you know, just do it attitude. Nike, just do it.
Yeah,
I believe in that.
Yeah.
I wear a hat every day. Just do it, because that hurts, but you just got to do it and you got to push through it. What else? Yeah.
A lot of that confidence in that stuff comes from the work that you put in behind doors on your own.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what does your training routine look like? What is the weekly, you know, training, nutrition, recovery? What is that? What's that for you like?
In the season, obviously, it's, you know, you train 5 days a week and you have a game one day and a rest day. Off season, that's, I feel like, when the most work is put in, or it should be. So, to be proactive about injuries, you need to be strong, right? So hit the gym at least 4 days out of the week. And the other days, you're supposed to be doing double days. So gym and then field time, ball time.
Right.
It's important to know the ball.
So that's like we're 2-3 hours right now out of the day of just training, you know, whether if it's with a soccer ball or with the dumbbells or a barbell or something like that. So we're about 3 hours worth of training a day, four times a week, right?
At least, yeah.
At least, minimum.
Yeah.
You know, some weeks more, depending if you feel good.
Right.
You know, sometimes less, depending if you feel good or not.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely got to listen to your body too in the off season, because you get an injury now or in the off season, and that's going to carry on into the season. So
yeah,
just listening to your body, but know your ball. So take some field time and get your body strong enough to withstand that brute force that's going to be happening in the season, and that's gym time. So
how much alone time do you have with the soccer ball? Like is it just, what do you explain that to me? Because I've always been curious. You know, I haven't had a chance to ask somebody, but how much alone time do you spend with the soccer ball?
A lot. Yeah, like anytime that I'm bored or something at home, I'll just go outside and start, you know, juggling, kicking the ball against the wall. And I've been like that since I could remember. It's just
second nature.
Yeah, like you have to know how this ball's going to move. If you close your eyes, you need to know where it's going to go, you know. In the game, I heard the statistic that kind of made me like, whoa, wow. You get 2 minutes of ball time in the game. You're touching the ball for maybe 2 minutes. Like, that's like the max. Say you're going to be touching the ball in a game. So if you're taking an hour outside every day and just touching the ball, it doesn't matter, you know, juggling, kicking, sure, whatever you want to do, just as long as you're on that ball, that you'll see that in those 2 minutes in the game.
Right. It's kind of like that whole Usain Bolt, he'll train for years and years for a 10-second race.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he makes it count, and I'm sure you do too. That's a pretty cool statistic.
So when, this past year when you've been playing professionally, obviously it's been a little different with COVID and stuff, but what's like a normal day for you as a professional soccer player? Like from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, what's that kind of, what's that line look like in between?
My day-to-day life is much different than what I was coming from, because of nursing school. I was doing like clinicals, which was like 8 hours a day and all that stuff, while also competing collegiately, so having games and stuff. And because I lived in Hawaii, we would travel for 2 weeks on end to the mainland to play and stuff. So it was a very, very hectic, busy lifestyle. You know, I didn't have much time to relax. So moving into the professional realm, all I got to worry about is football and So that's my only thing. And I got my nursing degree now, so don't have to worry about that. So I wake up, I take my time getting up. I love music, so I always have music playing. It doesn't matter what. Like, some days I'll wake up and I'll play like Mozart or something.
Oh,
And some days
nice.
I'll wake up.
Wide variety.
Yeah, Tupac or whatever. And yeah, so play some music. That's the most important part. And dance also. That's important. That's how you start your day.
It's like dancing while you're getting ready with the music.
Yeah.
Talk about dance. Do you have a celebration?
After
you score a goal or anything?
I lose my stuff after I score. Like I try to stay composed, but I get too excited. And I've noticed naturally, when I go to sleep the night before a game, I think about, okay, tomorrow I'm going to score and this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to do this. That never happens.
Oh.
I go, if I score, then I end up just doing like a upper punch, right? Like it's like one of these uppercuts. I don't know. Maybe I got that from my dad or something. But I just do like an uppercut and then I chill.
That's
and
it.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, why didn't I take advantage of that moment? Like, I want to run to the corner flag, do a little dance, maybe a little Mbappe going on. But no, I don't have a celebration yet. But yeah. Yet. I will get one.
No, that's pretty cool, So we've kind of already briefly talked to how much
you interrupted her routine.
Oh, morning, routine. Wake up, dance, music, breakfast, simple breakfast most days. I'm vegetarian, so mostly vegetarian until I get in and out. In and out's my weakness.
There you go.
So
or LTAP.
Or LTAP. Then I become like pescatarian. Actually, I always get I don't know what's good, some red fish stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so eat something simple. And I used to be studying for nursing, but now I'm going to study a language. So, and I haven't decided what language yet, but that's going to be my new thing. So do some studying, some recovery of some sort, maybe walking around for a few miles around the city and just wasting time till training.
Yep.
And then training comes around. By that time, you get home, make some dinner or meal prep or whatever, and it's time to restart the day.
Do you have like a bedtime? Like you got to be in bed by this time?
No.
Or just kind of
listen to your body.
Just, whatever I feel. If I feel tired,
Do you try to get like a certain amount of sleep every night? Like 8 hours or what's your...
Well, sleep. Yeah, sleep is very, very important, but if I don't I need 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I realize that is so important to recovery and stuff like that. So I do get my sleep.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So before I interrupted you, no, you're fine. So we talked about how much passion you have with the youth, and if you were to become a nurse, you kind of want to do something in that realm. Mm-hmm. And so if you were to be, asked a question from a teenage girl, someone of the younger generations, and they asked you for advice on how to get to a higher level of success, what advice would you give her?
I would say just don't stop. There are days you don't want to get up and do something. You need to get up and do something. You need to be determined. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Mm-hmm. So when you feel like, don't be discouraged, if you get shut down 12 times, that's fine. Maybe the 13th time you'll get it. But hard work is going to pay off. So if you're working hard behind closed doors, you should have nothing to worry about. And the stereotype, I'm speaking in terms of from being from Porterville and Hispanic community and stuff. Women aren't expected to become these crazy athletes, and you're supposed to get married, have kids, support your husband, be making dinner at night. So if you're from somewhere like here, I think it's really important that you don't feel like you have to fit in that mold. We're coming on new times now where women can be whatever they want to be. So be an individual, be a strong, independent woman, and don't give up and don't listen to stereotypes. And you can do whatever you put your heart to, really. I know that sounds cliche, but if you want it and you chase it and you work hard, you will get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just don't stop.
Yeah, see it through. Don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So you're getting ready to go back overseas to Hungary, and you're joining a new club, a new team. So kind of talk to us and tell us a little bit about that. What's this kind of new team look like, and are you excited? Are you nervous about going over there? Like, what's
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit nervous, going into a new environment with some unknown stuff going on. I know I'm going to take some time to adapt again and figure out my role on this new team, but I'm excited. I hear that this team is a great community. The environment is very supportive from everybody, and I think when you get to this level, a lot of times ego might get in the way because everybody's used to being their top player in their team, and you bring them all together, and it's just kind of this super, I don't even know what you would call that, like alpha almost environment. And so to have a team where everybody seems pretty cohesive and like easy to work together, I think that's going to be awesome.
Is there a lot of team bonding that you guys do?
On the last team I was on, not too much. Yeah, there was a lot of personalities, that got in the way. But I'm hoping on this team, I mean, in university, there was quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's the dynamic look like? I mean, I'm assuming there's women from all over the world on this team.
Yeah, I believe there was some from all over Europe, and there's a few Americans on the team as well. I'm not really sure who's actually on the team, to be honest, till I get there. But it looks like I think English is probably going to be the primary language there. So that's nice too.
Yeah. And like, how's like, just as some questions I had, but like, how's like the living and everything kind of arranged? Do you guys like live together? Do you have your own like apartments? Like, how does that all work out?
Yeah, so it depends on what team you play for. This team offers like a living facility that all the people on this team who want to live there can live there. But I opted out for that because I want my alone time, my space, so.
Sure.
I was accommodated for that, and I found my own little studio and public transport to get to training, but they offer transport from the complex to get to training. I just like to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And do they like, is there any, I mean, you look at different professional leagues, but like diet, nutrition, is there anything like the team offers you, or is that kind of all on your own?
That's another thing that I'm not sure of yet, because each team has like their own staffing, right?
Yeah.
The last team I was on, we had like different coaches for different things. My university team had somebody who was nutritional like person, and so this team that I'm going to, I'm not sure what we're going to have, but I imagine there's going to be some guidance in that realm.
Yeah.
What was the difference like between a college practice and a professional practice? Was there much difference, or was it like, whoa, what do we got going on here?
I think that's a very wide spectrum question there, because there's some teams in American collegiate ball that are way stricter than the professional realm, right? But my team was in Hawaii. In Hawaii, it's like chill, Nobody's in a rush. Nobody like just relax, bro. Just go to the beach or something. So training was not that bad. It was just kind of, and it's also D2, so it was just very relaxed, sit back. A lot of the girls there were local girls, so it felt like a continuation of high school ball. So it wasn't like, there was a few people that were like, okay, we're going to grind hard, we're going to pass these fitness tests, but most of the team was just like chill. So coming from that environment to what I'm in now, it was a world of a difference, and took so much time to get used to. Like, I honestly don't feel like I was comfortable until the end of the season. So going back is going to be like the new start for me of, okay, this is now my new atmosphere, and I feel comfortable. I'm not adapting anymore. Like, I'm ready.
Right.
It was a huge difference. It's so much more up pace, so much more hard on the body. You got your peers around you constantly pushing you. Yeah. There was times where I would laugh something off, and one of my Slovakian teammates checked me like, "What's so funny?" And I was like, "Oh, like, you're right. That wasn't funny that I missed that. I got to get it together." Because in Hawaii, you just, oh, dang, sorry, next one. But
it's a job.
Now you're held
business.
to it. Yeah. Now you're expected to try your best at every training, and you want to make the roster. You want to be on that board in the locker room, the next game day, and that's something to strive for. Yeah.
Are you like, these contracts you sign, are they like 1-year contracts, or like year to year, or is it, how's that work?
So the last one was 6 months. So I signed 6 months, and then it was my choice or not to return, and I re-signed again. This next one is a year off the bat. So I committed to a year for Astra Hungary FC. Yeah.
And so are you just playing against teams inside the country, or are you guys playing other countries? How does that all work with the league and stuff?
Yeah, so it's the first league in Hungary. The top 2 seeds or 1 seed sometimes, depends, will go to the Champions League playoffs and we'll verse the European teams. My last team placed 3rd and hoping for the first place this season. We'll see what happens and hopefully head to the Champions League, and that's when we travel around Europe.
So pretty much it's like if you win that league, then you advance to the Championship League and play other countries that have their number ones and stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. Cool. Well, any final thoughts? Anything you want our listeners to know? Shout outs or anything like that?
Let me think.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but it's important to leave those things. And while you're thinking about that, where can people follow you, or is your account? Do you even want people to follow you? I don't know.
Yeah. You guys can follow me at Ebony Madrid. That's pretty much my name on every platform.
Okay.
So Ebony Madrid. One last thing I would like to say is, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you want something, go get it. I was born over here on La Vida Street in a 1-bedroom apartment. There's like 10 people living there, and look where I am now. Thanks to my parents' hard work and stuff, we made it. So doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter anything. Don't limit yourself. The sky is the limit. Go get it. There was one thing I wanted to say and I lost it. So give me a sec.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it just
I don't know
possibly thanking somebody or something like that, or your come up and stuff? You're giving encouragement to people to go out and be who you are and having success and stuff like that, and just stick to the plan, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, and going through this to get where I am today, there was times where I felt like there wasn't really people to reach out to or to ask questions to and stuff. So if there's anybody out there who needs help and like was looking for a kind of mentor or a big sis, I'm here, and you can message me. We're both human. Don't hesitate. I'm open.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's always nice to have people like you around that been there, that done that, that turn their stress into success.
There we go.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
When does your season start?
August 13th.
August 13th. Is it live streamed? Can people watch it or anything? Or
Yeah, it's on the Hungarian platform of TV, kind of like the Hungarian Spectrum, but I'm not sure. There's streaming you can do stateside, but there's not like a channel you can go on stateside.
Right. So streaming is like a certain place you could go to, or is it like a streaming subscription you have to have or something?
No, it's a channel that you can. I normally share the links on platforms, so.
Okay. Just follow
that platform if you want.
Her Ebony on maybe Instagram or social media. You can get those links.
For sure.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It means a lot, and I'm excited for our young listeners, old listeners, everyone in between to be able to hear your story and hopefully get some inspiration from what you've done. Starting from that 1-bedroom apartment and now playing professional soccer and having your nursing degree and all these amazing things that you're doing. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys very much for having me. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate, Zach, Main Athletics here on Main Street in Porterville, California. Come hit it up.
Please do.
Great guys. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.